Need the video embed link, right?
Mm-hmm.
My computer, it does not let me. I have to fight with it. It doesn't, like I click on it, and as soon as I hover over video embed, it like goes away.
If you can't get it, you can get it through YouTube as well.
I think I got it.
Yeah.
Oh. USA, USA.
There you go. What do you think? Gonna take it down?
I don't know. It should be. I'm hoping for, as long as it's a good game. I just want entertainment, you know.
So, I know that the schedule has been rotated today. Is this is
No
happy hour, right?
sponsorship.
This is no spot. This is the grind till 4:15, but we're hoping we can cut that a couple minutes early. So.
All right. Good to know.
So, Chris, we'll just kind of get right into it, and we'll try. I'll hit them with the hashtag Grinders Live, and we'll get some questions at the end, and then we'll be on our way for the day.
Sounds good, man.
All right.
I'm easy to please. No Tulowitzki, no Dicker, or no. What's the other guy's name? Blackman for Colorado. So
even Strasburg's going to be a -300 favorite now.
Yeah, that certainly helps his cause.
They're just giving up. Poor CSU, he's going to cry himself to sleep with no time. We're ready whenever you want to get this going, Amber.
Okay, I'm setting some stuff up. Hold on one second.
All right, no six-pack spoilers, Brit. It's not up yet, so we can't give it away.
I'll let you. Who'd you have again? I
Can't
forgot.
tell you. You gotta watch the video.
McCutcheon.
We need the views, so don't spoil it.
How popular is that? That's got to get a good amount of views every day, right?
It's been getting usually between 1,000 and 1,300 lately.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right. Make sure that this stream is going, and then we'll be able to go. All right. If you guys are ready, I'm going to leave the chat count to 3 and then start. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right, I'm leaving.
See ya.
What's up, guys? Welcome to a shortened edition of the Afternoon Grind here on Roto Grinders. I am Brit Devine. You can find me on Twitter at Brit_Devine. I'm joined today by Chris Prince. You know him as Beermakersfan. What's up, man?
Not much. I know a lot of you are excited about the soccer game here, so we're going to keep things brief, run through things so everybody can get out of here and go watch some soccer. Go USA.
Hey, if you're not too into the soccer game tonight, I'm going to be watching it. There might be some overlay in some games tonight because so many people are out watching the soccer game. So if you are playing tonight, make sure to check on that around the industry. I'm sensing there might be a little bit of value in tonight's games. Running through the industry quick on FanDuel, there's a 535 DFBCQ on Draft Street. Shout out to all your 420 guys. There's a 420 DSBC qualifier over there. And on DraftKings, we got a 50K Super Booster for $55. The top 50 people all walk away with $1,000. Since we're on a time crunch here today, Beer, we're going to jump right into it. And I'm not sure if all you guys in chat know, but this Colorado lineup just came out, and it is looking pretty weak. And I think Steven Strasburg is going to be 100% owned in every game tonight. What do you think about that, Beer?
Certainly looking that way. No Tulo, no Blackman. Obviously, it helps him tremendously. The price is down on him due to his recent struggles, but he's still a guy at home that's lights out at this price point in this matchup without two of their best hitters. Certainly got to be, if not the top option, certainly one of the top options for tonight. But I agree with you. I think he's going to be very popular tonight.
Yeah, I've almost, my rule of thumb for Steven Strasburg is I never take him on the road, and I almost always take him at home. He just seems to do much better at home. He's only $9,300. He's $900 or $1,100 less than price tonight on FanDuel. He's at $250 fave now. I'm going to imagine that might creep up to minus 300 or so, which is about the biggest you're going to see in baseball by the time this game goes off with Tulowitzki and Blackman out. He's just easily my top guy on FanDuel tonight, and pretty much throughout the industry now that news has come out. I think he's pretty much a lock for 6 innings, maybe 7. He does get the hook pretty early, especially if they're going to be up. They'll go to the bullpen, but I can see 7 to 10 strikeouts almost automatically, and the win seems about as big of a lock as you're going to get tonight. I don't think there's a lot of analysis need to be spent on it. Other than that, put him in your lineups. And move on to your next spot on FanDuel, on multi-pitcher sites. We're going to give you a couple other pitchers to look at tonight. If you're, let's pretend you're on Draft Street or DraftKings or a site with multi-pitchers here. You got to pair someone up with Strasburg tonight. Who you on?
I mean, obviously you got to think about David Price, probably the priciest option, no pun intended, on most sites out there. But with good reason. He's been pitching well, a lot better of late. I don't know if these trade rumors are fueling this or what.
He's pissed off at these trade rumors.
It certainly looks that way. I mean, the matchup in New York scares me a tad. I mean, I'm waiting for Price to get blown up like we've seen in the past, so I don't know that I want to pay the tag on him. I certainly think there's a lot of mid-range options that you can look at. So a few guys that stood out to me. I do like Mike Leake a lot tonight. I know the price on FanDuel, $8,400, seems a bit high, but another guy that's been pitching great, good matchup with the Padres. The Padres ranked dead last in every category, at home, against righties, overall. Their numbers are way below everybody else. Latos didn't do as well as I expected last night, but I can certainly see Leake going in there, pitching a good game, and I don't think a lot of people are going to want to pay $8,400 for a guy like Mike Leake that, again, they're used to paying $6,500, maybe $7,000 for. So I think he could be a little bit more under-owned than some of these other guys tonight. And a couple other guys, I think Henderson Alvarez is in a great spot tonight against Philly. And my sneaky, I'm not sure if anyone else likes the play, but I like Jared Kozart tonight. I know Seattle had a good outing last night, but looking through his numbers, he's done very well against left-handed hitters, which is primarily what Seattle offers in Seager, Cano, Saunders. Most of their dangerous bats come from the left side. He's my sneaky GPP option for his strikeout upside and his ability to hold down those left-handed bats.
Yeah, you click, Kozart's kind of was one of my sneaky guys, too. You click open his game log. He's been very consistent this year. He's just pitting up. I think he's got 4 wins in a row. So I kind of like that pick down there as Kozart. It's kind of an off-the-board play. I don't think a lot of people are going to be on him tonight. You mentioned Leake. Anyone against San Diego's in play. San Diego is, they're just horrible. They'll be lucky to score 2 or 3 runs tonight. And Leake's put up back-to-back great games, especially on FanDuel. The only thing I'm worried about is the win's a little in question. The game's basically pick 'em. So I'm certainly not going to take him in my cash games over Strasburg. For what is it, 900 more, when Strasburg's going to end up being a minus 300 favorite. It's already up to minus 260. I think it's going to keep rising. What about, we got a couple other people here. You mentioned David Price. He's got the ability to go deep in every game. He's got the ability to rack up Ks. He's just a small favorite tonight, though, so that kind of has me off him when he costs more than Strasburg. We got Josh Beckett here at 8,600. He's put up a great season so far. He's home against Cleveland. Any interest there?
No, and I don't know why. I mean, he hasn't pitched very well. Just not to be blunt there, but I don't know what it is about Beckett. And I've been wrong. I mean, he's been pitching very well. Looks like the guy we saw with Boston and early on with the Marlins. There's just something about him, and it's more personal bias. So this isn't the outstanding research that you come here for. He's just a guy that I don't trust. I'd rather obviously have Strasburg. If not, I'm going down to Leake or Henderson Alvarez, honestly. Again, more of a gut feeling than anything. I know that's not what you come here for, but that's just my humble opinion on Beckett. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not maybe on a second pitcher site. I think I'd still like to use some of these other guys, like Henderson, or a guy I'm going to talk about next year, Mike Minor. He's at 7,300 on FanDuel. If you just want to, be a lot different in your cash games, I think he's your next safest play due to the win factor. He's it's almost a minus 200 favorite to get the win tonight. Going against the Mets, he's at home. And with a price decrease you get in him over Strasburg, you can really load up on some of the bats tonight that we like. Any interest in Minor tonight?
Yeah, I do like him. The matchup is ideal. The Mets, I mean, David Wright hits lefties. Other than that, there's not a whole lot there that you have to be concerned about. So I like him at home. Hasn't been pitching as well as we've seen him in the past, but I do like him tonight for sure at a good price. So I think he's going to be the guy in the mid-range that people will target. I do think he'll be popular tonight. So in a tournament, again, I'd probably favor a Cosart, maybe paying up a little bit more for a Mike Leake, but I do like Minor tonight for sure.
Yeah, Leake's creeping. That game's creeping up a little bit too in the over/under. So I like Minor a little bit. You mentioned Alvarez. He's pitched great against Philadelphia the last 2 times out. I was wrong on him last game. I thought Philadelphia might get to him, but he looks like he's got it all under control. He doesn't rack up the Ks. He pitches to contact, but that kind of allows him to go deep into these games, and Philadelphia isn't scaring anybody right now. So I kind of like Alvarez, too, as an off-the-wall play if you're going against Strasburg in a GPP. Got 2 other guys here for you I want to talk about. They're both 8,000 tonight on FanDuel. We got, Big Game James, who hasn't really done much for me this year, and we got Iwakuma, who's been getting rocked lately. Any interest in either of those 2 guys tonight?
If I'm choosing between the 2, I mean, Shields has been bad. Let's just be honest. Looking through his game logs, the last month or so has not been Big Game James. I'll not create a new nickname for him here, but he hasn't been very good. Iwakuma struggled in his last start, and something about Houston scares me tonight for Iwakuma. So if I'm choosing, I would expect Shields to have a better chance to bounce back against the Twins. Not much of a lineup there in Minnesota either, so I could see Shields definitely bouncing back, being very low owned just based on what I just said. He hasn't been good, and most people are looking at what have you done for me lately? Not much from Big Game James. So if I'm choosing between those 2, I do like Shields. I am off Iwakuma tonight. I know some people like him tonight. Houston's been playing very well, especially at home. Something about that scares me. I am staying away from Iwakuma, putting him in the Josh Beckett category of not going near it tonight.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm a little undecided on Iwakuma on the multi-pitcher sites. He's been pretty consistent in the past couple games. He's got lit up. I like to take him at home. At Houston isn't the ideal setup, so I might be shying away from him tonight in some of the multi-pitcher sites, pairing him with Strasburg. Scrolling down the list, a lot of these cheap guys, I don't have any interest in pretty much anybody below this $7,000 range on FanDuel tonight, for the exception of 2 guys, Ian Kennedy, who we haven't talked about, and you opened with Cozart, which I like as an off-the-board pick tonight. Any interest in Kennedy tonight, pitching at home against Cincinnati?
Yeah, I mean, he gives up a lot of home runs, so that's certainly concerning. Cincinnati has some good bats in that lineup with some good power, but he is a guy with strikeout upside. So in that ballpark, and Cincinnati is not the blow-me-away offense we've seen in the past. There's a couple guys in there that certainly have the ability to hit home runs, but I think he could have a good outing today. So I do like him. I like Cosart a little bit more in that range, but Kennedy is certainly an option. Beyond that, I don't see much at all that I'm willing to spend on. Possibly Clay Buchholz against the Cubs, but again, I'd rather move up and go with a Cosart or a Mike Minor that you spoke about. Even an A.J. Burnett with some strikeout upside right in that Alvarez, Lincecum, Porcello range could be an option. But to me, Strasburg, the easy call. Tournaments, I do like Cosart a lot. And Mike Leake is also another option. A little bit more pricey than most would like, so I think he'll be under owned tonight.
And none of these cheap guys at all, even in a GPP, I think they're all just, they're just waiting to get shelled tonight. Gonzalez, Friedrich, Mills, Martinez, McFarland, Carroll, Matsuzaka. You go up. None of these guys even deserve consideration to me in a GPP lineup. So I'm going to be off all those guys tonight. Let's move on to catcher tonight, Beer. And some guy I was really high on. I was hoping he'd come back into the lineup tonight was Victor Martinez. Doesn't look like he's in. So now that my top option is gone, why don't you tell me who your top option at catcher is?
A couple ways you can go here. Catcher is interesting today. You can spend up. There's a guy I like that costs, and there's some cheap punt options, and a couple in between. So the guy that if I'm spending on catcher, I'm going with Buster Posey. I know he has not been tremendous this year, but he's still been solid, been great. I think it's just a lack of power makes him seem undesirable, but has hit much better as of late. Always hits left-handers well, and now gets this rookie left-hander for St. Louis in Gonzalez. So I think the Giants are in a good spot tonight. I like Posey a lot, even at 3,800. That's where I'm going if I'm spending. If you're going cheap, Wilson Ramos at 3,000. I liked him yesterday. I don't like him hitting in the 8th spot, but it didn't shy away yesterday because of that. He's certainly a middle option. John Jaso is another guy in that range. And AJ Pierzynski and Jason Castro would be my punt options. Cheap, good two left-handed bats going against guys who tend to struggle against righties.
I don't mind Ramos batting 8th so much. I mean, he's got a lot. That Washington lineup is just stacked now. They're back to full health, and even batting 8th, if he gets pitched around, he gets a couple walks, because they want to pitch to Strasburg or the pitcher, or a pinch hitter or something like that. I'm fine getting 3 or 4 or 5 points for my catcher. I'm not always looking for a home run. And at 3,000, I like him. He's going to have a lot of opportunities driving runs tonight, I think, versus, Friedrich for Colorado tonight?
Yep.
So I like a lot. I love all these Washington bats. I liked them last night, and it doesn't, I'm not shying away tonight. I'm not going to be shying away tomorrow either. They're just throwing all these lefties at them. I like your Posey pick. I think I'm going to pivot off Vmart to Posey on some of my lineups to free up some salary now that Vmart's not in there. A couple other guys I wanted to hit on. We got John Jaso at 3,200 tonight versus Porcello. That game's got a 9.5 over/under, so Vegas is expecting a lot of runs in that game. I think you're going to see him from both sides, both teams there, Detroit and Oakland. I think both are in prime spots to put up a lot of runs tonight. If you're not on Burnett, I like Saltalamacchia down there at 2,800. And there's a couple punts down at the bottom there. You got A.J. Pierzynski and Kurt Suzuki down at 2,200. Any feelings on any of those guys tonight?
Yeah, like I said, I like Pierzynski a lot. Minimum price hitting 5th tonight. Edwin Jackson has struggled with lefties, so I expect the Boston offense to bounce back. Arrieta was pretty dominating last night and is looking like the real deal. But as for tonight, Pierzynski is probably the way I'm going if I'm going cheap. Again, Posey would be my top option. And in the middle, you name Jaso and Ramos. So those would be the 4 guys that I'm most on tonight at catcher.
Yeah, I think that, anyone else you want to talk about a catcher? What about Sal Perez? He's at Minnesota versus Nolasco tonight. He had the home run last night, 3,300 tonight. Is he going to be making his way into any of your lineups?
Like I said, I'd probably go Jaso in that same range. I got nothing against Perez. Hell of a hitter. He's got some power. Nolasco is terrible, to say the least, so he could certainly be an option. There is some rain there. I know we have a ton of questions in the chat, conversation about weather. It's really hard to say right now. There's a lot of games. Looks like rain rolls in, rolls out. Some starts later in the game. The East Coast is definitely where the rain is headed, so I'm hoping we get our meteorologist with a report later on. He's been doing a great job here, so hope you guys are tuning into those videos. But it's kind of early to tell, but just know the East Coast, if you're targeting anybody in those games, there could be a threat of some rain. So we're still about 3 hours away, so just stay tuned to the late show is going to run almost right until game time with Smizzle and Peter, I believe. So they'll give you a much better idea on the rain.
Yeah, that about wraps up catcher for us tonight, and we can move to the position. Who there's a plethora of players at all different prices for you tonight at first base tonight. Why don't you tell me who your top play is, and then we're gonna go through. I got about 15 guys here that I wouldn't mind playing tonight at first base.
Yeah, again, tons of ways you could go here. I mean, Goldschmidt against a lefty is certainly appetizing. Miguel Cabrera at home against a lefty. David Ortiz at home against Jackson. So if I'm spending, those are the three that I'd be targeting. Moving on down, I'm not going to try to steal all your guys here, and I don't want to name everybody, but those three if you're spending. I think in the mid-range, Pujols if he is in the lineup in a doubleheader. If not, C.J. Cron. Either way, should both be in a good spot against Carroll. Brandon Moss against Porcello could be an option. But a guy I like a lot tonight, especially with the price factored in, is Adrian Gonzalez, 3,100 against Masterson, who's been terrible for his career against lefties, and it's gotten no better this year. He's horrible on the road. The ERA is 6.65. Gonzalez is starting to show some signs, and the price at 3,100, tough to beat. So those would be my favorites. If you're punting, going cheap, I do like Joe Mauer and James Loney tonight, under 3K.
Now we had a guy, you were on last night, and Steve Pearce, 3,100 tonight. Hit the 2 home runs last night. Can he do it again tonight against Martinez?
I mean, he can. The guy's got talent. It's good to see him getting an opportunity. And I think a lot of people are going to be on Chris Davis tonight, waiting for him to bust out. The price is cheap. So Pierce may not be as highly owned as you would think coming off a double dong. And maybe I'm wrong, but I could definitely see Chris Davis's ownership being higher than Pierce tonight. So he's a play in my book. He's hot, gets a good matchup at home. Certainly somebody to look at, and the price is right. At 30, I think he's 3,100 again tonight, or 32. Certainly right there with Adrian Gonzalez in the price point.
What about Crush tonight? 3,300. He's been really struggling lately. I don't, the matchup in his career, he just crushes bad right-handed pitching, which is exactly who he's up against tonight. Would you use him in a cash game tonight, or is he going to find is he more of a GPP play for you?
He'd be a tournament play just because he's struggling, but we know his upside is as high as anybody at the position. So I think you got a lot more safer guys with the same type of upside. Cabrera, Moss, Gonzalez, like I said. I think there's a lot of ways you can go that are a bit safer, but he certainly presents a huge ceiling in a good matchup. Even through his struggles, I wouldn't ignore him. Again, I think he'll be pretty popular tonight, so I don't know how much exposure I'm going to have to him personally, but I do think this is a good spot for him to break out of his funk.
Yeah, there's a couple other guys. You got, Jose Abreu against Weaver. He's up there at 4,500. He seems to, have a lot of power against right-handers. Any interest in him tonight?
I would rather have a Miggy in that same price point, like I said, or a Goldschmidt against Locke. So he's always an option. I mean, the guy is, if he's not leading the league in home runs, he's right there at the top. I actually like Weaver tonight. He's been pitching well, so I don't think I would have much exposure to Abreu. I'd be down to Ortiz at 3,900, or I'd be on Miguel Cabrera at the same price point. So I won't be on him tonight.
I would agree. I don't think too many people are going to be on Abreu tonight, especially, Goldie and Miggy. They were both, 5,000. Goldie was 53,400 not too long ago. His price has come down a little bit versus the lefty and Locke tonight. I really like Goldschmidt. A guy that disappointed some people last night in Fenway was Anthony Rizzo. He's 3,600 tonight, going against Buchholz. I had him. I used him a little bit last night. Didn't come through to me. I think a lot of people are going to be burned by that and maybe not go back to the well tonight. But he's shown some really good patience with walks. It's not just all power. He's hitting for average pretty good this year. Any interest in Rizzo at 3,600?
I'm probably not on him either. I mean, he's been struggling the last couple games. Doesn't have a hit in his last 3. He's like 1 for his last 20 or something off the top of my head. So you like the matchup with Buchholz. But again, there's just guys that I like a bit more in that range. Would be Moss, Pujols if he's playing. Who was the other? Gonzalez, Cron. There's just other names I like more than him tonight.
Yeah, the cheap guys for tonight. I like let's say Joe Mauer. He's down there at 2,700. He's gotten a little bit of a price bump from the 2,200 he was a couple weeks ago. But at 2,700, I could certainly see him. Shields hasn't been very good this year, so I wouldn't mind him as a punt. Any other cheap guys you're eyeing tonight down here at first base?
Yeah, Mauer was one of my favorites, and James Loney tonight, short porch in Yankee Stadium against Kuroda. You certainly do better. I like him. I've been using him a lot. He's consistent. Not much power, but again, that short porch is going to help that. So him and Mauer are definitely my cheap first base plays. Both 2,700 tonight.
Yeah, if there's ever a place for Loney to hit a home run, it's definitely Yankee Stadium compared to out in Tampa Bay. So I like both those picks tonight. That's going to wrap up first base. Let's move on to second base. And, we got a guy that's just lighting the world on fire, Jose Altuve. He's 4,800 now, and I can't spend that much on a second baseman tonight when you have, there's a lot of better plays like Kinsler, Rendon, Cano, and some other guys that are priced below him. Are you spending on Altuve? And if not, who are you looking at second base tonight?
No, give me Kinsler all day for 400 cheaper. I mean, he's just as hot, if not hotter. Gets Brad Mills tonight. We know what Kinsler can do against left-handed pitching. So if you can fit him, I like him. You mentioned Rendon. I liked him yesterday. Almost in the same scenario today. So he's back in play. I mentioned Masterson earlier. So D. Gordon is a guy that's been playing lights out. So those would be the three if I'm spending. I'm not on Cano tonight. Again, I like Cozart. I think he can hold those bats down. Kinsler being my favorite of the bunch. Rendon's probably the cheapest. So if you need a little bit of savings, I have him pretty closely ranked to Kinsler.
Yeah, I love me some Kinsler. I love me some Rendon. Another guy I'm looking at if you need to save a little money tonight on FanDuel at second base is Howie Kendrick at 3,100. Scott Carroll is not a good pitcher at all. And I think these Angels are in a prime spot to put up a lot of runs. Any interest in Kendrick tonight? And then I got two more value plays for you real quick at second. I haven't looked at the lineup, but I would assume Tommy La Stella is going to be in the lineup. And then Josh Harrison, I think we talk about him every time. He's up at the top of the order again tonight instead of batting 6th or 7th now versus Wade Miley tonight.
Stole my two value plays. I like Harrison a lot, especially leading off. It only adds to his value. And La Stella was definitely another guy that I like if you're punting. You asked about Howie Kendrick. I do like him a lot. I like the Angels. I think they're going to be in a great spot. Going to be popular, though. Everyone's going to be on the Angels. We're getting some USA chants here in the chat, so I'm assuming the game is getting started. So we will fly through the rest of this. But Kendrick, I think, is your play in that mid-range. I do like Zobrist in that same range as well tonight. But if I can find a way to get Kinsler in there, that's certainly what I'm going to try to do.
Yeah, I've been off Zobrist, pretty much the past week, and it's kind of come back to haunt me. He's had some pretty good games. It looks like he's heating up. So I would not be opposed to using him batting as a lefty at Yankee Stadium tonight. It's pretty easy to hit one out of there. So I just usually don't use a lot of the Rays, probably from their struggles earlier in the season. But maybe I'll take a look at Zobrist tonight at second base. So I don't mind that pick either. Let's move on to third base tonight. And, the one clear guy for me at the top is Adrian Beltre going up against McFarland. I like all these Texas bats. I like all the Oriole bats tonight. And I like all the Tiger bats, and I like all the Oakland bats tonight. I really like all four of those teams to put up a lot of runs tonight. Are you on Beltre? And if not, who are you targeting at third base, Beer?
Yeah, I like Beltre. If you can fit him again, kind of in the Kinsler mode, they're both 4,400. It's going to be tough to fit these kind of guys if you go with a Price, a Strasburg. So I don't know how many lineups I'll have him in. I think the sweet spot for me is about the 3,100 to 3,300 range. And the three names I like, Matt Carpenter tonight against Lincecum. I'm not expecting another no-hitter. I know he pitched well, but I do like him. I like Brock Holt at 3,200. And probably my favorite of the bunch with pricing, very similar to Gonzalez. I think he's a bit underpriced because he's underwhelmed lately, but starting to heat up is Ryan Zimmerman at home against a lefty. Had a good game last night. Again, Washington is in almost the exact same spot. I liked them a lot yesterday. I'm going back to that well again tonight.
Yeah, I used Zimmerman last night. I'm probably going to use him again tonight at 3,100. He's just too cheap. I really like all those Washington righties. Even Harper tonight, their starting pitcher might be out after 3 or 4 innings. They get to the bad bullpen. They're going to be a bunch of righties. So I even like Harper tonight. That whole Washington lineup, up and down, all looks good to me. Third base, I don't really have too many cheap plays other than Castellanos down there at 2,500 tonight. I had Beltre, Holt, Zimmerman, just like you. What about Josh Donaldson up there at 3,700? He's starting to turn it around. It's not versus the preferred lefty, but Porcello, he's not an overwhelming pitcher by any means. So would you be opposed to someone using Donaldson tonight in a GPP? I think you're going to see some pretty low ownership on him tonight.
Yeah, you're right about the low ownership. I will not be using him. Most of Porcello's struggles have come against left-handed bats. I know Donaldson has been pretty good against righties, but Porcello's been pitching all right as of late, coming off a complete game at Texas. So he's not a guy that I'm going to heavily target. Like I said, I do like Moss because it's a left-handed power bat. That seems to be Porcello's kryptonite. Donaldson is somebody that I am not on tonight, but again, your point is valid. He will be not very highly owned, in my opinion. I think people will go towards Longoria, Wright, Santana, Chisenhall, all those guys in that price range. I think will have a higher ownership than Donaldson tonight.
Any cheap guys on your radar other than Castellanos, who's he's up to 6 in the order, with Vimar out of the lineup. So it's a little bump for him tonight, down at 2,500.
Yeah, he's certainly my favorite value play. Good price on him again against Brad Mills. The Tigers are in a fantastic spot. Looking out the window here, the weather looks great. A little bit of wind, so he's certainly a good value. Nothing else that really stood out in the value section. Martin Prado maybe against a lefty is 2,900, and I do like Luis Valbuena against Buchholz at 3,000. So again, for me, it's the 29 to 32, 3,300 is your sweet spot. But Zimmerman to me, head and shoulders above that group, and Beltre, of course, if you can fit him in there.
Yeah, I love Zimmerman. He's he's about penciled in to my FanDuel lineup, and I don't think he's going to be moving. So you're going to be seeing him in a lot of my lineups tonight. At shortstop, Beer, these top guys, Tulowitzki's out. I don't know if Hanley's going to be playing. So the top guys are kind of out of the picture tonight. So that leaves us with a lot of these mid-tier options and some low-price guys. So why don't you tell us who you're on?
Oh, the Jordy Mercer, baby. Hitting 6 tonight against Wade Miley. 2,500 is a fantastic value. I love me some Jordy Mercer tonight.
What is putting, he's a lefty masher. I like that play. He said he's batting 6th, so, that's where Harrison has been. I think he's going to have a lot of chance to drive in some runs with Sanchez, Russell Martin, McCutcheon in front of him there. I like your play on Mercer tonight. There's a couple other prices, a couple other guys down there at that 2,500. Let me throw a couple. We got the Daily J.J. Hardy, 2,500 versus Martinez tonight. I think he's still a play, even though it's not versus a lefty. And a guy I'm looking hard at is Elvis Andrus, 2,500 tonight versus McFarland. The power's not there, but if he gets on base, it's a little hard to steal off a lefty. But I can see this Texas team putting up a lot of runs and him being a part of it. What do you think, Elvis tonight?
Yeah, this is certainly the range for shortstop, I think. If you need a spot to go cheaper at, this could be your spot. But Elvis, he's been okay, nothing fantastic. But if he gets on base, he's a threat to steal, can score some runs. Not a bunch of power, obviously, but he does have a 5-game hitting streak going, so I'm not opposed to that. Again, I'm going to be all over Mercer, but in a tournament, it might be smart to pivot off of that and look to a Hardy, look to an Andrus. You got Jed Lowry down here at 2,700 against Porcello. Again, struggles against lefties. So there's certainly a lot of cheap options tonight. Even at the high end, I'm not going to be anywhere near. Tulo, we know, is out. Hanley has been pinch hitting. So I do like Ibar, 3,500, and Castro at 3,300 against Buchholz if you're spending, and maybe Ian Desmond at 3,000. So to me, there's not a ton of options that I love. Again, I'm going to be all over Mercer tonight.
Yeah, Ibar has been super consistently. I love him as a cash game play at 3,500. But if you're using Strasburg and you want a couple of the other bigger bats, it's kind of, you got to save money somewhere. I like your Mercer pick, Hardy, Andrus. I also like Ian Desmond tonight. All these Washington righties just put as many of them into your lineup as you can tonight. In my opinion, I love these guys tonight versus Colorado. Anyone else at shortstop pique your interest, or you want to move on to outfield where there's if you think first base has a lot of plays, outfield's always stacked even more.
No, I'm good on shortstop. Not a ton of guys to love tonight, so let's move on.
Let's go, and I'm not sure if your six-pack has been posted up on Roto Grinders yet, Beer, but why don't you go ahead and tell us who the beast of the night is?
I can't reveal said information. You got to watch the video, so we're just going to mix in my play along with everybody else.
Watch the video, guys. You got to watch that six-pack when it comes up. He's been on a tear lately, so make sure you click on that and go through that. So we won't give anything away. Let's go through some of the top plays tonight at outfield. Mike Trout, he's good. If you can afford him at 5,800, it's going to be really hard if you're using Strasburg. But if you're using Minor or someone else in a GPP, maybe you can fit him in there. He's always he's pretty much always the top play of the night at outfield. If you're not on him tonight, who are you looking at in kind of the higher price tier on outfield on FanDuel?
I think the easy answer here, you mentioned Trout. The top three guys all look very appealing. Giancarlo Stanton has been on fire. Didn't do much last night, but before that, 3 hits, 2 hits, 2 hits, 3 hits. So he's been lighting the world on fire. McCutchen at home against a lefty, I'm very high on. I love Pittsburgh tonight. We already mentioned Mercer, Harrison. You could probably even throw Marte in there. I know he's been hurt, but he hits lefties well. McCutchen is the ultimate lefty masher. So all three of those guys I like a ton. McCutchen, my favorite there, based on price, based on matchup. But those are the easy ones. Let's go down. Let's go a little bit cheaper. Tons of options in the outfield, like you said. Cole Calhoun, guy I was very high on yesterday. Unfortunately, the game got rained out. I'm going back to that well. Even with the price jump, at 3,600, I think he's a great value. I know Matt Joyce has been a popular play recently at 3,400, but I like Hunter Pence in that mid-range. Against a lefty, has been so-so lately, but has always hit lefties well, so I expect him to break out of his funk and get things going. So the high-end guys, yes, if you can afford them, but for me, Pence and Calhoun are certainly options under 4K that I'm very high on.
If you were in a GPP, would you rather use Calhoun or Hamilton tonight?
I would go with Calhoun. He's been playing too well. I mean, he's been on a roll lately. Hamilton's been so-so. Not that Hamilton's not on my radar. He gives you that power upside, but I would go Calhoun, even spending a little bit more.
Yeah, I love Calhoun. He's been a staple in a lot of my FanDuel rosters, for the past month. The price has finally caught up to what he's been doing. At 3,600, I'm not sure if he's going to make it into my lineup tonight. I do like him as a play, though. I think he could have a big night. A couple guys I'm looking at in the outfield tonight. Let me throw a couple value plays who I think are definitely underpriced tonight. We got Jason Worth at 2,900 and Alex Rios down at 2,800. Both these guys get the righty-lefty matchups, and they're both facing subpar pitchers. What do you think of those guys tonight if you're trying to save some money?
Yeah, definitely good plays. I would probably go Rios over Worth if I'm choosing between the two, but certainly tremendous values. These are guys we've seen in the 4K range before on FanDuel, so you can get them under 3K. A lot of upside. Guys that hit high in the lineup. Worth's hitting third. I don't have a Texas lineup in front of me. I'm assuming Rios is about in the same spot, hitting third against McFarland, so it's hard to beat that value. Right around 3K. Yeah, he is hitting third, so good value there.
What about this Baltimore outfield tonight? We got Markakis, Jones, and Cruz. I'm looking real hard at Adam Jones in the righty-righty matchup, but I think I'm going to be avoiding Cruz, and I'm also taking a look at Markakis tonight. He struggles versus, the Texas pitcher struggles a lot versus left-handers. Try to make some sense for us with this Baltimore outfield tonight.
Yeah, Jones hits righties well, so that would be the preferred target if you can fit him. Cruz is always dangerous, much more so against left-handers. Jones kind of has the splits where he hits both well, so if I'm going on one or the other, I definitely prefer Jones. Markakis, not a ton of upside, but a guy that's great for cash games. His price may be a little bit too high for my taste, but against Martinez, I think the argument's valid. The outfield that I'm going to target as Detroit. You get 4 of them that you can choose from. I got Austin Jackson hitting leadoff. Martinez is hitting cleanup tonight at DH. Torrey Hunter's hitting 5th. And Rajay Davis, I wish he was at the top of the lineup, but hitting 9th has always hit lefties well. Saw a big grand slam from him last night, so you get power, you get speed. So it's almost a pseudo leadoff hitter hitting 9th. So the Tigers, a lot of value there in that outfield tonight.
Let me ask you a question. On FanDuel, let's take price into consideration here. Who, if you like this whole Tigers outfield, who would be the one guy you might leave off your lineup tonight?
That I would leave off if I'm choosing 3 of them?
Yeah, there's 4 available. Take one out. Which guy isn't going to make your lineup tonight?
Probably Torrey Hunter, just based on, his upside isn't as high as it used to be in the past. He's been playing a little bit better of late, but I think the other 3 have much more higher upside, so he would be the one that I would lead off. But 2,900 is pretty good value for him. Jackson at 2,400 is a tremendous value tonight.
Yeah, and he's leading off, so he's got a chance to get 4 or 5 at-bats. If that game's going to be as high scoring as everyone thinks it is tonight. So I think I'm with you there. I would probably leave off Hunter and go Jackson, Martinez, and Davis down there. 3K, the walk-off grand slam, I wouldn't expect that again. But, with steals and singles and runs, I could certainly see that being an option tonight. Who else do you like in outfield? I got a couple other plays here. I got Alex Gordon, 3,100 versus Nolasco for a cash game play. He's very safe. He's been very consistent this year, so I like him. And one other guy, it's not the lefty-righty matchup I'd like against Masterson, but Puig has a big discount tonight at 3,900. Would you be interested in him at all?
Yeah, it's Yasiel Puig, so you got to take notice. It's under 4K. He's a guy that's generally mid-4s, if not 5,000. So I don't know how much exposure I'll have to him. Masterson, yes, he struggles with lefties. Puig, yes, he hits righties well, but Masterson's been decent against right-handers. I know, again, he struggles on the road, so there's probably other guys that I would prefer in that range, but again, I can see the argument. It's Yasiel Puig, so I like the call there.
Just the price is just kind of dragging me to look at him a little bit at 3,900. I was used to seeing him up near 5,000, not too long ago. So when the big stars go on a price break, I like to take advantage of that while you can. So he might make his way into some of my lineups tonight. Anyone else you looking at outfield tonight, Beer?
Yeah, a couple more value plays. Again, I know you're going to want to go expensive on pitcher most likely. So Kevin Kiermaier is a guy that I've been using a lot recently. He's been playing well, kind of flying under the Matt Joyce radar right now. I know Joyce is lighting the world on fire. But Kiermaier has been playing just as well. Again, the short porch there, has homered in 3 straight games, gets Corota, and you get all that for 3,000. Sign me up for that. You mentioned Worth is a guy that we like. Cody Ross is a name I'm intrigued by tonight. 2,200 against Locke. I know he's done nothing, but he's a guy that's always hit lefties well, has some power in that bat. So I'm checking here to make sure he's in the lineup before I start talking about him.
He's in there at 7th. He's burned a lot of people this year just because when he has these real enticing matchups, he hasn't done much this year.
Myself included. But the lesson here is don't be shy. You got to go back to the well on some of these guys. So at 2,200, certainly more of a tournament option, but he's somebody I'm looking at. And a couple more names, Ben Revere and Andre Ethier. Revere's been playing well as of late. I know I like Alvarez, but if you wanted to go against the crowd, he could be a play. Ethier's a Masterson play. Struggles against lefties. Ethier and Gonzalez, Gordon are really the only left-handed bats in that lineup. Another cheap outfielder for you.
Hey, what about, we got the Red Sox call-up, Mookie Betts. He's batting 8th tonight. A lot of people seem to think he's going to be a really good outfielder, a really good fantasy outfielder for the Red Sox. Any interest in him tonight at 2,200 as a punt?
I won't be on him again. I like Ross. There's a couple other guys down there that I would play, but I like Boston tonight again. I think they bounce back. So certainly, if anyone at 2,200, if they're in the lineup, they're probably worth a play. He fits that bill for me.
All right, guys, we're approaching. Our show is supposed to run till 4:15. We're running a little over. Anything you want to say before we head out of here, Beer?
No, go USA. Good luck in all your games. Any questions in the meantime, guys, hit us up on Twitter. You'll have Al and Peter, I believe, joining you after the soccer game, taking you right up until 7. And keep an eye on that weather. That's going to be the thing to watch tonight.
Yep, you just took everything I was going to say, so I don't have anything to say. So we're going to be out of here, Grinders. Check back later for CSU and SMIZ. We're out.
See you guys.